The third fight of Tenkaichi has now concluded, surprisingly fast, and since a decent amount of you mad lads enjoyed my video talking about the first two fights, I'll be making a video on every fight as they finish. Of course, there will be spoilers in today's video, as I'll be also discussing the chapter 16 rules. If you haven't already, start reading Tenkaichi, spread the word of its greatness, and of course, if you're new here and enjoy fighting manga, make sure to hit that subscribe button, as that's what I pretty much cover on this channel, Mysterious Weeb. So, Yagyu vs William Adams, the first low-diff fight of the story. Going into it, the common consensus of the fandom is that Yagyu was most likely going to win, as the representative of Oda, and someone who had been talking and appearing ever since chapter 1 as one of the main characters per se, or one with the most shine. People have been claiming there's no bias in the series, as the authors said this at the end of one chapter. They don't decide who wins a fight in Tenkaichi before it actually begins, and that the three authors or creators have a vote mid-fight after deciding on their abilities, backstory, and some other details about their characters, and whoever has 2 votes, I guess, will be the winner of that fight. So it's pretty much deciding the winner mid-battle, which I guess is pretty interesting. Also claiming that there is no protagonist in Tenkaichi, and that everyone is a central character. There are no side characters. This should mean there's no bias towards characters, but looking at the first 3 fights, I think a majority of people in the fandom have been able to predict the winners. For example, the first fight was Musashi vs Honda, Musashi Miyamoto. I think like 99% of the fandom thought he was going to win, and of course he did. And then the second fight was a little bit more contentious, but the old Chad man who had beef with Oda versus the extra thick waifu of the series. Again, I think a majority of people thought Fuma was going to win the second fight, and yes, she did. But do take note, them kind of being predictable winners hasn't really taken anything away from the fights themselves. Musashi vs Honda was a great opening fight, and then Fuma vs Todo was something that went to a whole next level, one of the greatest fights in all of fighting manga that I've read. I think a lot of people can agree to that. Now the third fight, Yagyu had like some mini protagonist vibes as the representative of Oda. Most people thought he was going to win, and of course the Japanese bias that's pretty much typical in most manga. Of course, Adam Williams, one of the few non-Japanese characters in the series, was going to lose. I thought it would be a lot closer, but Yagyu low-diffed him in a pretty badass way. The chapter 16 rules was some wild stuff which I'll get into shortly. But before getting into the fight itself, this is my current predictions for the whole tournament. If you're a fan of Kengan Ashura or you've read Kengan Ashura, that's kind of my inspiration for these predictions. Let me explain. So we have the thought to be protagonist of the series, Tokita Oma. Makes sense. We have Kiryu being Sasaki based on the conversation Sasaki had with Musashi, similar to Kiryu and Oma. Both of them getting to the next rounds but not actually winning. Makes sense. We have Kano Gito, which is represented with Yagyu in multiple ways, which is very clear, making it to the final, which is a little bit of a difference, but something cool I noticed. And then we have a wise Chad that's kind of on the down low, gaining that victory as Kuroki. So yeah, here's my predictions. Of course, I hope I'm wrong. I hope Fuma actually defeats Musashi, and a few other things I hope I'm wrong about, but this is just my predictions that I'm going to go for, considering what the authors stated with them deciding who wins the fight. But now let's get into the actual topic at hand, William Adams versus Yagyu. So getting into it, Adams is an absolute menace. We have lines like this, him just being a savage monster, and also being the one with the location advantage for this fight. But prior to them even beginning, we had the Ito guy pointing to Yagyu for whatever reason. Is it him predicting that he was going to win, or saying you better win, I want to fight you sometime in the future? That's some hype, I guess, We had the whole meeting of Musashi and Sasaki, which I guess was pretty cool. And then of course, you know, William Adams being a true menace. But a common feature of Yagyu that's been hinted at even before this fight actually begun is his insane bloodlust, which did fully get unleashed in the chapter 16 Raws, with us getting his flashback as well. But man is truly an absolute monster. But even before the fight begun, we got like so many sick panels of Yagyu, like this panel of the Grim Reaper, everything like that. So yeah, he was definitely done quite well for the third fight. Adams' dancing fighting style was pretty interesting to start the fight, but it was kinda used to just show Yagyu's adaptation ability and how truly skilled he is, only taking a few minor attacks from Adams before he's able to fully surpass it, and also pretty much copy it and send the same type of attack back, if not even a superior version than what William Adams has mastered over his whole life, which again speaks volumes to how much of a monster Yagyu is. Being represented as the literal Grim Reaper, which pretty much comes about in his backstory, which I don't know what they're saying, but based on it, seems as though he was created to be an absolute monster, and now that's what he is, as the peerless swordsman who is going to win this whole tournament for the sake of Oda, the person who's running the whole thing. So yeah, he's going to be a true menace in the future, and that is the third fight. Now, just to end the video, I'm going to talk about my predictions for the fourth fight. We have Hino, a retainer of Oda, and I believe a sumo wrestler, so he's going to be monstrous when it comes to physical power, as we've seen a few times prior to this fight, with him just chucking a fan at someone and end them like that, facing this old man who is a enjoyer of titties, so respect to him, who I believe, based on like our world history, was some type of samurai, but it does seem like one of the oldest fighters participating in the tournament. So I do think the samurai is going to defeat the sumo boy, with the main reasons being Yagyu as someone close to Oda just won, even though the sponsor of Hino isn't Oda like it is for Yagyu, he's still close enough, so I don't think he'll have them to fight one another in the next round. That's one reason. Old man Chadness, we already had the other old man lose, so at least get one of them through. We need that. His love for titties, which is respectable, and I'm excited. Let me know your thoughts on the fight between Yagyu and Adams and this up and coming fight. Join the Discord, follow the Twitter, check out the other stuff if you want. And of course, shout out to the Mad Lads who support the channel via the Patreon. But yep, that's it guys. Peace.